Hello, all. Welcome back to another episode of KJ's What Happened. We look back on the weirder of the week, also some random stuff. Excuse me. Oh, fair warning, Chubbs is on the prowl. He may stop by, he may not. I tried to feed him just before the show to get him to calm down, so we'll see what happens. But you never know. You never know. If this is your first time, especially during a live show, thanks a lot for joining us. They have a lot of fun in the chat. I can't really keep up with it while I'm doing the show, but I understand it gets pretty crazy over there, and that's why it's great to have the moderators as well. There's 4 of them tonight, so that I've noticed so far. So thanks to all of you for being here. It helps. It really does. And I hope you enjoy the show. That's all I can say. I hope. We'll see. Anyway, man, all kidding aside, let's get started. I got some great stories here for you and some footage. Scientists put human gene into monkeys to make them smarter, human-like. What could go wrong, right? It's a cute picture. Can you imagine having a real conversation with something that looks like that? For the first time, a team of Chinese, it's always the Chinese, it seems. For the first time, a team of Chinese scientists made use of gene editing techniques to make monkey brains more human-like. By the end, the monkeys, rhesus macaws, got smarter and had superior memories as compared to the unaltered monkeys. Researchers edited the human version of a gene known as MCPH1 into the macaws. The gene made the monkey's brain develop along a more human-like timeline. The gene-hacked monkeys showed better reaction times and improved short-term memories in comparison to their unaltered peers, as per China Daily. I'm going to be putting this in a future video, too. This is totally Planet of the Apes. I always say we're living in a science fiction horror film, and, right here's another example. It's interesting, right? The predictive programming, how much we'll see movies about things like this, and then later it becomes real life. Here you go. Planet of the Apes. Get ready. Good luck. Good luck. Well, I mean, if they're that size, if it's monkeys like that size, I'm kind of okay with that. Like, I think we could take them out. But if they're the big ones like chimps, and apes and things like this, especially when they learn how to use guns and knives and stuff, that's a nightmare scenario there. The team successfully created 11 transgenic rhesus monkeys carrying human copies of MCPH1. They said that a transgenic monkey model is practical and to a large extent can imitate the human specific status. However, few scientists also raised concerns regarding the technique, some even calling it reckless. Geneticist James Sikala told the MIT Review, the use of transgenic monkeys to study human genes linked to brain evolution is a very risky road to take. It's a classic slippery slope issue, and one that we can expect to recur as this type of research is pursued. Planet of the Apes. As long as it's just these little monkeys that get smart, I think we could take them out. But I guess we'll see. I guess we'll see what happens. I don't want to be here for it. I'm not going to play this video. I just wanted to show it to you. I'm always working on something, videos, or just collecting stories, for future videos, and it's what I do. So today I was doing that, and I had this whole thing on in the background. I listened to the whole thing. It's AJ on Impulsive. This is the, this kid's he's a goober for sure. This Logan Paul. I think this is Logan. But just thought it was really weird that AJ was on a Logan Paul podcast. But it was entertaining, but it was also very cringy. To think that this is the man that so many of us credit for waking us up. And he really is. I mean, for better or worse, it was that the Grove footage from many years ago. That's what really, really woke me up. Over 10 years ago, when I first saw that, that was just what really shocked me. Um, that broke the left-right paradigm for me. That was the beginning of knowledge. As far as things in the world go and politics and all that, that was a real beginning for me. But so, I've always thanked him for that. Again, I know his work has affected a lot of you too. Remember, he used to do these massive documentaries and put them out for free, all the time for years, doing stuff like this, really waking people up. But then there's just all the weird stuff attached to him, like whether he was compromised or not, he's not helping the cause, I feel, by acting out the way he was acting out on this show in particular. Like, it was some pretty cringy stuff. I mean, he's having a good time. He's loose, he's making jokes. He's drinking some kind of liquor throughout the whole thing with these guys. I mean, assumed it's liquor. They say it is. Looks like liquor, and he gets pretty loose. And he gets pretty cringy at times. Honestly, it's just like, ugh. He did the deposition recently. You could check that out. It's like several hours long. And the attorney's office that did it actually put it up on YouTube, so you could find that. That was interesting too. But I don't know, the whole thing just, I'm a feeling kind of a person. The thinking usually comes later. And that's how I do with everything. It's just kind of how I initially feel over things. It's guided me fairly well throughout the years, I could do more thinking. Okay. All right. Yes. No, I think I do a good balance of it. But this thing left me feeling very, I don't know, just kind of cringy, kind of weird. Because it's good to have a sense of humor. I think I have one. And especially covering the kind of things we do. I don't goof around on any of my videos or anything. I'll joke around some on these shows, but you got to balance that stuff out, and we can't be too goofballish, I feel, because it can take away from the seriousness of the message. I don't know. That's just me. I mean, I feel like there's got to be a balance. You can't just be the jester all the time. People won't take you seriously. If you're always the clown and always the jester, people just won't take you seriously. But he was being a real clown and a jester on this. Then again, it was also, maybe it was awkward for him. I don't know, because this is, it's not something you would ever expect to see. This Paul character with AJ. And I've told y'all before, I don't really subscribe to tons of truth channels and truth Christian channels and stuff. I subscribe to a lot of this mainstream stuff because this is how you keep, at least how I feel like I keep a finger on the pulse, if you will, of, the average Joe and Joannas out there, the multitudes. This stuff gets a lot of numbers, this stuff here. This kid gets a lot of views. Anyway, I know I'm rambling. That's about it, but maybe you can check this out sometime if you're interested, and let me know what you think. If you guys go watch this, come on back after the show here's uploaded and let us know in the comments what you feel about the whole thing. Okay? I'd like to hear. Let's move on. Here is another one. This one actually went fairly big, fairly mainstream. And this is about an Instagram girl. They call them influencers. Now, for some of you older folks, you may not know what that means. Influencer, but that's like the thing with Instagram. I mean, there's people on YouTube that can make a living here on YouTube. There's lots of people here on YouTube that can do that. It seems on Instagram they do it as well. Now, I actually just recently signed up for an Instagram account, so I've got one now. It's under Thescariestmovieever. I don't know what I'm going to do with it yet because I've never done Instagram, but this is kind of the thing, especially for the younger generation. So I figured, okay, let's do it. I haven't created any other social media in quite a while. I've got a Facebook under KJ Osborne. If you're interested in being my friend there, and I got my website and Twitter, and that's about it. It's about it. So I figured, why not? Let's go ahead and leap forward, into 2019 and join this Instagram thing. So anyway, we'll see what happens, man. I don't know exactly what I'll do there. Like I said, I don't even know if you can upload videos or if it's just links. Maybe I'll try something else over there. I've been wanting to experiment more with kind of short animations and maybe revealing things in that, or just even basic truths, or whatever. Kind of stuff we're into, fluoride and chemtrails, or maybe cover some of that in short animations or something. I'm not sure, man. I've always got ideas, but we'll see. Maybe that's what I'll use Instagram for. Anyway, enough about me. Let's get back to the news. Instagram influencer cries at thought of 9-to-5 job after her account was suddenly deleted. So I think there's a picture of her down here. Yeah. So I guess that's, she's an Instagram influencer. And I'm not big into this. I don't know if it's that maybe that's how they get popular, is kind of not wearing much. I don't know if that's kind of the thing. Yeah. I don't know. Anyway, let's see. I think I can play this. Yeah. Let's go ahead and let's hear it from her mouth. See, I didn't see the horse's mouth. I'm not going to be like a jerk like that, okay? Anyway, let's see here.
Hey guys, so I'm in the middle of editing and my Instagram account got deleted, and I'm trying to get it back. I'm calling everybody I can, and I don't know why it's not working out for me. I'm in LA because of this. I'm in LA because I want to be on Instagram, and I'm randomly just recording this to put this in the video. I'm nothing without my following. I'm nothing without my following. And when people try to hate on me and report me, I'm literally trying to be a better person. I want to say to everybody that's been reporting me, think twice, because you're ruining my life. Because I make all of my money online, all of it. And I don't want to lose that. And I know people like to see me be down and be like them and be like the 90%ers, the people that work 9 to 5. That is not me. I am in LA to not be like that. I worked so hard to get to where I'm at. And for that to get taken from me is the worst feeling in the world. It literally sucks having people want to come after you for no reason, and it hurts. And I don't think people understand that, like, this is my life. I am nothing. I was a prostitute, for God's sakes. I was a prostitute. I stripped every single day. I don't even do that anymore because I make all of my money online. I don't want to go back to that life. From the bottom of my heart, it sucks. And the people that...
Anyway, I'm not going to play the whole thing, but you kind of get the gist there. But it's, to me, again, I'm a bit new to this Instagram thing, and the influencers and whatnot, but I've been looking more into it, and there's a lot of people on Instagram, and, a lot of them use their sexuality, obviously, to gain a following. So you'll find lots of what they call now Instagram models, which are, it's just what you think, it's just different girls all around the world who just start, modeling more, showing off more on Instagram and things like this. And they get lots of likes and they can get revenue and all this. So there's this whole culture. And it feels like, just from the images I've seen of this one here, like the kind of, there's some other news stories I saw on her. And again, she was not wearing much. Okay. But, I'm guessing she might've been kind of in that category. I don't know. It just says something else about the narcissistic culture we're in, and doesn't it? There's a lot to be taken from this whole story, I feel. But there you go. I don't want to continue watching this girl cry. Let's continue on. Seems we got another YouTube situation here. Oh, okay, another one. I'm not going to play this. I just wanted to show you something here. It's the comment sections. They've really been kind of trying to take the comment sections away. They took them away from kids YouTube channels. They're all completely gone now. It's crazy. So instead of punishing, the people that were causing issues on these kids videos and whatnot, because there were some naughty people around there, if you will, saying some naughty things. But if it wasn't for why didn't they go after the bad guys? They don't. Again, this is the new censorship thing. They're going after, they're just using these are false flag events, if you will, I feel that are happening all the time here online, and they use them, of course, just to further censorship. It's an old scheme. It's an old routine. We've seen it played out time and time again. The September attacks come to mind. Here's Lucifer season 4. I guess Netflix went ahead and got it. Like, they're releasing this. And I'll just show you a couple things here in this. It's just the whole thing is him getting out of a swimming pool and, not wearing much. And here's this. So he's got his 666 tattoo thing, right? But then here's the best part. He is risen. He is risen as he comes out of the water, right? So here's my comment. Netflix blocked me anyway a while back. This is why you see nothing here. When I log out and come back here, I don't see this comment. So I've done that before. Anyway, here's mine. He is risen, quote unquote, incredibly blasphemous. But hey, it's entertainment and he looks nice with his shirt off. That's not wanted around here. But let's take a look at some of the comments that they like here. Let's see. I find it ironic. My response to this was God, and then, the D word. He is risen. Yeah, so is my blood pressure, which I'm guessing is because they think he's hot or something. Huge fan of the show, so happy Netflix picked it up. Oh, hopefully they can make it even better. Tom Ellis can make a straight guy go, the other way real quick, this one says. Morningstar says, if I cannot bend heaven, I will raise hell. Anyway, there's a lot of these here. Last time I checked, at least, talking about how hot he was. And oh, here's one. I'm a dude, and this man made me question my sexuality. This girl says, okay, I've never felt so hot like this. Anyway, you get the idea. We're not going to go through the whole thing. He is risen. He is risen. Lucifer. I just did a video on Shazam, and even there I was saying that when you really look around, and this one's more obvious, but in TV and movies now, you'll find constantly warped versions of Bible stories. And we see this all the time. I feel like it's a mockery, and that's really kind of the idea. It's a mocking spirit. Not everybody will see that, of course. It's just the way I see it, right? Anyway, so here's this, and we know what this is mocking, but he is risen, Lucifer. Okay, there you go. And people love it. They love it. They want more of it. They want more of it. He makes them hot. He makes them feel hot. Lucifer makes people feel hot. This young man right here, I just wanted to give him a little shout out and some credit. I just found him recently here. Lion's Ground is his name. I love UFO videos. You know that? Big into the UFOs and supernatural and paranormal. And now here's a guy, though, since I've been going through some of his catalog, he debunks a lot of things. But he also shows some things that are cool and interesting, So, but I haven't found another UFO person that that is critically thinks like this. Like he does a good job, I feel. Anyway, so here is a video, and this is no offense to some of you out there may still have this video up and haven't seen all this, because this video here in the background got a lot of play this week from a lot of channels. I've seen it around there, and I'm just trying to see if he shows. Yeah, he shows some of the images. All right, so this happened. Now let's check this out. This was over Sweden just a few days ago. Somebody put this up on a website called it UFOs Perform Ancient Ritual Dance in Sky over Abisko, Sweden when landing. Ancient ritual dance. And that's what he gets into is, why are you calling it that? First off, and then as he goes through, you find out that it wasn't a UFO, and this really was some kind of an experiment they were doing out there in the atmosphere. There's some of the images. And that's it. I mean, you can go watch this if you like for yourself. It's on his channel, Lion's Ground. I'm not sure if I should play it or not, because I never know if that's going to get hit, or whatever. But so I'll just kind of like do like this. But yeah, check this one out if you're interested. UFOs perform ancient ritual dance over Sweden is 100% false. And yeah, like I said, he shows some proof that this is really just an experiment. It's very interesting. Something to do with the Aurora Borealis. But there you go. All right. Just sharing that. No selfies allowed. Tourists at this Phuket beach may face a death penalty for taking photos. I believe they've addressed this now. I'm not really sure exactly what they said, but here's the story that just came out recently, a few days ago. It says, sometimes getting the perfect selfie just isn't worth the cost. In an effort to increase the safety at Thailand's international airport, tourists at Mai Ko Beach could face some seriously strict punishments, including the end of their lives for taking selfies in front of the popular low-flying planes. In recent years, the beach has become known as Unseen Phuket. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right, but I'm going to stick to that one. Serving as a backdrop for countless tourist selfies and photos because of the novelty of incoming planes that can frequently be seen flying very low over the beach while en route to their runway. According to the Bangkok Post, authorities are concerned about the potential safety risks the photo takers pose to the pilots and aircrafts and are developing a new safety zone near the runway. People and tourists will not be allowed to enter this area to take photos, he says. He went on to issue an additional warning to anybody living or staying within 9 kilometers of the airport, urging them against flying drones or shining lights at the incoming planes. That makes sense. There you go. Wow, it's pretty crazy. I mean, I'd get where that'd be a popular location for selfies. Speaking of Instagram, I'm sure there's lots of people who'd like to get that kind of an Instagram picture up, right? Chasing those likes. This is a rough one. This will be going in a future video as well. Alarming rise in children taken to the ER with thoughts of ending their lives or attempts. Analysis finds the number of children across the U.S. who have been taken to the ER for suicidal attempts or thoughts has doubled since 2007. Doubled. So it's just doubled in what, 12 years? That's crazy. The report published Monday in JAMA Pediatrics and based on data extracted from the Centers of Disease Control Prevention, concluded that diagnosis of suicide-related behavior of children aged between 5 and 18 burgeoned from 580,000 in 2007 to 1.12 million in 2015, marking an uptick of 2.1% of all visits to 3.5% in the 8-year period. Wow. The average age of the child sampled for this data collection was 13, but some 43% of those taken to the ER with suicidal attempts or tendencies were between 5 and 11 years old. 43% between 5 and 11 years old. Wow. The trend of increased rates of suicidal ideation and thoughts amongst the most precious of our society is more than alarming, it's also disheartening. Dr. Melanie Burkholder said. Yeah, this needs to be explored more. So I'm going to put this into a video. It connects with some other stuff I've been kind of piecing together. That's a lot. 43% between 5 and 11 years old thinking about ending their lives. Where do they get those ideas? Another kind of BS story. I'm a huge proponent of kratom. I've talked about it before. Even recently, my family has a cleaning business, and there's somebody who's worked for us for many years, and she's getting a lot older and going through a lot of pain issues, and has tried everything. And I recently got her to try kratom, and it just worked immediately. Like, she was freaking out. I mean, the lady she's loving it, and it's all natural. This is the way to go. I've been into it for many years. I use it myself. I had some medical issues, and they tried to put me on a antipsychotics or whatever. What is it? Zoloft. They try to get me on Zoloft, and I'm just not having any of that. Okay. Even all the medicine they gave me for, blood pressure and cholesterol and everything. Instead, I do, apple cider vinegar and cinnamon, and I do all herbal stuff. And so far I've been doing okay, so, but that's just me. It's been a learning process for sure. But this is one of those BS stories I'm not with. Of course, they're going to come after the all natural because they want you hooked into that American Medical Association and Psychological Association, and that cycle, of just more and more drugs and never really getting better, but just staying alive so they can keep making that money, U.S. health officials say overdose deaths involving the herbal supplement kratom are more common than previously reported. A government report released Thursday. Oh, good. A government report? All right. Thanks. I trust you. Said kratom was a cause in 91 overdose deaths in 27 states. Officials previously said they knew of 44 nationally. Most who died had also taken, here's the important sentence, most who died had also taken heroin, fentanyl, and other drugs. But kratom was the only substance detected in 7 of the deaths. So even if that's true, only 7 of this 91 deaths, only 7 of these 91 deaths is they're directly relating to kratom. Most who died had also taken heroin, fentanyl, or other drugs. And here's the headline. Goodness gracious. Herbal supplement kratom is tied to more U.S. deaths. I mean, okay, we get it. Clickbaity, for sure. They're not lying, but, it's like, I don't know. Yeah. Kratom comes from a plant native to Southeast Asia. It's sold in capsules and powders with claims that it helps ease pain, anxiety, and drug dependence. I believe. That's just me because I use it. So there you go. But no surprise that this system is going to go after the all natural. Let's see here. Have you heard about this? This was, it's an off-duty police officer who's a security guard at a McDonald's in Chicago. He had to remove these 2 young men from a McDonald's, and then they wound up attacking him. And here's what happened. What I thought was most interesting, though, is that the patrons of this restaurant, the people in McDonald's filming, it's totally quiet when this police officer is getting beat up by these two guys. They're just sitting there filming. But then when he turns the tables on him, everyone freaks out, you know? And they got away. I mean, well, I think they may have picked him up later, but I mean, he didn't hurt them or anything. I just thought, again, it goes back to this idea where, you know, most people aren't living in reality anymore, especially with their phones. You know, they record everything. And they can't even tell what's real, some of these people anymore. They just don't care. You know, they're more interested in getting the footage so they can go get them likes, right? So they can post this stuff on, well, I guess, Instagram and other places and, you know, get that popularity, that, that online popularity, which really means nothing. It means nothing. It means something to the people. They make it a big deal, but they finally caught the guy that was burning down the churches in Louisiana, and it was a deputy's son. He looks like a creep, though. He looks like the kind of guy that would burn down a black church, I think. There's a movie, I can't remember the name off the top of my head, but one of my friends told me to check it out, and it's about this Norwegian heavy metal band. It just came out. It's on demand right now. You can find it on demand, their video on demand. But it's a true story. That's why this friend had told me about it. So, well, I mean, I love the true stories anyway. And it's just basically about the most evil band that ever existed, it turned out. And it was almost like a dark comedy at times. But then there's some violence in it. It was just, I mean, I could barely even look at the screen during some of this stuff. It was just really shocking, crazy, true story. I'd heard the story bits and pieces throughout the years. I'm a music fan, not necessarily Norwegian heavy metal or anything. I guess it's more like Norwegian death metal. I mean, these guys were really into the devil and really into doing dark things. But one thing they did is they started burning down churches. So that movie just came out. And again, I don't know. I feel when I see stuff like this, that's connected. Again, this is an example of real predictive programming manifesting in somebody. I mean, again, this is just my kind of, I don't know exactly what happened. These are my impressions of things, but here's why. So it's all about heavy metal, right? Darkest, most evil metal band that ever existed. Again, I can't remember the name of it, but you can look it up. If y'all know, if you find out, please leave it below so others can find this if they want to. Look, this isn't a Christian movie, okay? This isn't something you're going to want to watch with your children or anything like this. I'm warning you. It's a true story, but it's also brutal. Some of these young men were incredibly evil, and but they were also dumb and naive. Like that's kind of that's why it was fascinating. It works on a lot of different levels. But when there is violence, there's not tons, but when there is, it's really, really rough to see. So I'm going to warn you of that too. But so that movie comes out. It's all about metal and stuff. Now this guy is here he is. His name is Holden Matthews, 21. He's taken into custody, and he's described on his Facebook page as the lead singer for a heavy metal band called Vodka Vultures. So this guy's into metal. He's into the rock. To me, it would make sense that, you know, there's a good opportunity or good chance there that he may have seen this movie. And again, I don't know. I'm throwing things out there, guys. I'm not, it's just how I initially think of some of these stories, but Then maybe that's where he got the idea. I don't know. And then he started doing it because the movie just came out before all this, before March 26th. It's been out for, I don't know, maybe a couple months. Anyway, he got caught, got popped, this guy. Maybe I'm wrong, or maybe it really is an example of how imprinting and predictive programming and stuff like that can work on people. We're open to be programmed without even realizing it. This website right here, Express, they do this a lot. They'll pull from YouTube videos and they'll make stories out of it. And most of the time it's in a mocking way. Like sometimes they'll find some of the worst YouTube videos to use and just make people look terrible. And that's where I don't know, sometimes some of the channels that are out there, I do think some of them are set up to make everyone else look bad. And then sometimes it's just people who are just kind of naive or something, or maybe they don't, maybe they're a little goofy or a little weird or something, but those will be the ones they typically will profile to make all these ideas look cuckoo. But here's one I thought was interesting. So, apocalypse warning, Big Brother state is beginning of Antichrist's reign. Shock claim. Social credit systems, cashless societies, and an all-around Big Brother state are forewarning that the Antichrist is set to rise on Earth. Some Christian conspiracy theorists have claimed. Christian conspiracy theorists. A group of Christians are pointing to passages in the Bible which feel eerily familiar in today's world and could be a sign of the beginning of the end. The first such example being pointed at by Christian conspiracy theorists is the social credit system, which has been established in China. As part of the nation's controversial system, civilians will have their bad behavior checked against their name. The offenses are somewhat ambiguous, but can range from very serious to smaller grievances. They include bad behavior on public transport, spreading false information, smoking on trains, as well as being in debt. Wow, and not paying fines. Can you imagine? Ouch. Punishing people for all these things, the government. Oof. The credit system has already been used to prevent fast internet speeds and for citizens with bad behavior from gaining a loan. Another example is India's has established the largest biometric database in the world. And see, all this is factual stuff, right? I don't know. Let's see where they go. Maybe this will be a good one. I don't know. Where citizens have to enter various biometric data such as fingerprints and iris scans on the record. Thirdly, a recent survey has found that 25% of Europeans would prefer an artificially intelligent government over humans, with the argument being robots could not do a worse job than politicians. All of these are tantamount to a Big Brother state in the beginning of the apocalypse. Certain quarters of Christianity are pointing out to the Bible passage, Revelation 13, 16 through 17, which reads, "It also forced all people, great and small, rich and poor, free and slave, to receive a mark on their right hands or on their foreheads, so that they could not buy or sell unless they had the mark, which is the name of the beast or the number of its name." Website Signpost of the Times says all these developments are driving the world towards what Bible prophecy has warned will be the future of this world during the time of the reign of Antichrist. Once again, the news of the day and the prophecies of the Bible are looking more and more the same as we gather speed towards the time known as the time of Jacob's troubles and the Great Tribulation. Keep strong and keep looking upwards, for certainly your redemption is drawing closer and closer every day. I mean, I guess I spoke too soon. I mean, I think that was a good story the way it was written, right? I didn't see any mockery or anything like that. I mean, these are all points that we've covered. I've covered some of this stuff in some of my videos too. So there you go. But, I guess that's kind of how some of this stuff works. They got to do some solid, good stories from time to time, and then maybe they mix it in with some of the goofy, kind of silly ones, right? Kind of muddy the waters a bit. Yeah, this one's nuts too. Real life Jurassic Park is scientists confident of cloning extinct Stone Age creature. So, another example, what have we already seen tonight? We saw Planet of the Apes. in the reality, and now we're seeing Jurassic Park in our reality. Are you starting to see how everything's, it starts connecting to me? Real life Jurassic Park, a scientist confident of cloning extinct Stone Age creature. The ginger-colored foal died when it was just 1 or 2 weeks old, sometime during the late Stone Age, around 42,000 years ago. Even stuff like this. Do you guys believe that there was something here 42,000 years ago? Some people think Earth has been here for millions of years. Some people think less than 10,000. But its body has been perfectly preserved in near perfect condition in Siberian permafrost, and scientists are optimistic that they will obtain enough genetic material to clone the animal and bring its extinct species back to life. The joint Russian-South Korean research team is led by South Korean cloning expert Professor Hwang Woo-suk, who is also closely involved in efforts to revive the woolly mammoth using cells taken from features preserved in the Siberian ice. Whoa, look at that thing. The foal is an example of the cold-resistant Lenskaya breed, which died out some 4,000 years ago. Wow. A Yakut, that's that thing, that's beautiful, isn't that? That's so cute. A Yakut horse is one of the contenders to act as a surrogate to the cloned creature. Man, see, this is messing with God's creation, right? Man becoming God. This guy, one of the richest men in the world, Jeff Bezos. Under pressure from left-wing journalists and activists, Amazon is purging right-wing authors from its store, including a book co-authored by English Islam critic and independent commentator, Tommy Robinson. The web retail giant has become the dominant market player in book sales, accounting for nearly 50% of physical and 83% of ebook sales in the U.S. As such, Amazon has the power to effectively cut an author off from the vast majority of the book's market. Amazon began its new round of purges by targeting the white nationalist fringe. In February, the tech giant banned a number of books from white identitarian people, whatever that is. This followed bans on Holocaust revisionist books in 2017 and a purge of all books by controversial pickup blogger and author Rush Valazada, whatever. As with financial blacklisting, a censorship spree that starts by targeting extreme ideas quickly moves towards the censorship of more mainstream ones. Definitely. That's one of the tactics, right? In early March, the online retailer banned Muhammad's Quran, Why Muslims Kill for Islam, a chronological Quran and critique of the Islamic religion, co-authored by British populist Robinson. The book is a chronological reordering of the Islamic Quran, followed by commentary by Robinson and his co-author. Amazon did not return Breitbart News' request for an explanation of why the book was banned. In 2010, Amazon refused to take down a book defending pedos on First Amendment grounds. Amazon believes it is censorship to not sell certain books simply because we or others believe their message is objectionable. An Amazon rep told CNBC at the time, Amazon does not support or promote hatred or criminal acts. However, we do support the right of every individual to make their own purchasing decisions. Public and media outcry was not enough to present Amazon into watering down its commitment to content neutrality when it came to a pro-pedo book, but it now takes only the slightest pressure for the tech giant to ban right-wing critiques of religion. Excuse me, I'm going to take a drink of water here. So there you go. I think that's basically it. Just more of that spirit of censorship, Fahrenheit 451. So here's another example of how reality, right, is we were programmed for this. This is Fahrenheit 451 from one of my favorite authors of all time, Ray Bradbury. Fahrenheit 451, the book burnings, and now you have the new Fahrenheit 4 and the old Fahrenheit 451 and the original book and the movies they made, it was firemen. But instead of putting out fires, they set fire to books. But now that everything's gone digital, well, it just takes a couple pushes of a button and bye-bye. Bye-bye your life's work. Bye-bye everything you ever did online. There it is. Crazy, huh? Got another YouTube here. Let's see what we got this time. Oh, there's no reason to really play it out. It's just another MAGA hat. It doesn't always have to be the black-white thing, but unfortunately, that's the way that it's being created for us. That's definitely the narrative, you know. It's one way they do it. It's tribalism. You know, we see it played out all the time. This is what the globalists, if you will, or Zionists, or the Illuminati, or whatever. It's just to me, it's a culmination of lots of secret societies. But this is what they do to us plebes. They separate us into groups. That's why they like to label everybody, and then they turn those groups against each other. It's Survivor. We're living in Survivor, the TV show, in that respect. But yeah, just another person triggered by a hat. And we're seeing a lot of that now. So I can't remember. If you guys know this story, let me know. But somebody involved in working with Trump during the as he was trying to get elected, somebody who worked with him had worked on the Purge movies, I believe, or like marketing for the Purge movies. And remember, at one point, one of the Purge movies was coming out, and it was the red hat. It was like the whole poster for it. So it's interesting how, again, another example of how this stuff was out there first, right, in media. And now we see the reality of it. Now people are getting truly triggered by a hat. 3 reasons why socialism is gaining popularity in America. It says, did you know there are socialists in the Midwest? Americans are used to the country's vast rural hinterlands being depicted as Trump territory, and variants on socialism attributed to East Coast intellectuals and pointy-headed Vermonters. But the socialist movement has deep historical roots in flyover country. In the early 20th century, the tiny town of Girard, Kansas was a hub of American socialism, as was Madison, Wisconsin. These days, as the Atlantic outlines, a growing number of young adults in Iowa are at the forefront of the movement. I'm not going to read the whole thing. It's kind of a long article, but here's the 3 reasons. 1, leaders are paving the way for a second massive economic crisis within a generation. It says regulators are starting to ease the rules put in place after the economic meltdown that led to the Great Recession a decade ago. The Fed, for example, wants to loosen requirements for big banks to have plans in place to close in an emergency without requiring a government bailout. Congress and regulators are making it easier for those same banks to make the kinds of high-risk loans that led to the last economic disaster. The government last year rolled back the Dodd-Frank law that enshrined many economic protections into law. Number 2, it's becoming more and more difficult for the average American to live life sustainably. Some of capitalism's stoutest defenders attempt to spin its worst flaws as virtues. For example, America's education system is set up in such a way that for many, getting an education means going deep into debt. But here's how one National Review writer mocked a young woman's story about how she nearly avoided medical school because she wasn't sure she could shoulder the cost. I don't want to get too much into it. This is just a bunch of political stuff too, I think. But number 3, the party of capitalism put Donald Trump in the White House, is what they say. Anyway, I don't know, just sharing. Not the greatest, not the greatest article, I'll admit, but that thought's out there as well. There are a lot of people in America. That's basically what the Democrat Party has become in America. It's not even socialist. It's an extreme communist in a lot of ways. Marxist. This is some pretty cool footage. There's actually, there have been some other sightings out here at this lake as well throughout the years, but here's a pretty good shot. And this is over Lake Erie, which stretches across both the Canadian province of Ontario and 3 U.S. states. Let's go ahead and see if we can't watch this.
We have Brent Cousins here. We're looking at.
I'm just gonna play it. This is from third phase of the moon. It looks like. I mean, that's why I have to be careful, because most people that'll post these videos, they're just kind of regular folks with small YouTube channels most of the time. They probably have never even. A lot of times you'll see they haven't even posted anything before. This will be their first thing to post. It's also a good sign, showing you that this is most likely legit. It's just somebody was out and they're like, "Whoa, what's that?" and they filmed it. So this is over Lake Erie. This guy filmed, but then other channels will go ahead and use the footage, but then it's smaller parts of bigger videos, and they monetize that. So then you can still get slapped if you use this footage later. Sometimes. It helps not to play the audio, though. But that's cool, huh? That's pretty wild. It looks like one of those cylinder type UFOs that I did a video on way back. It's on my website. That these might be the Vermana or the Velixi. I think it's the Velixi, perhaps, but some people compare them to the biblical story of seeing the flying scrolls. That these are the flying scrolls. And let me close this out. And there's been a lot of footage of those. I put those in videos throughout the years, even many years ago, during some kind of a skirmish in the Middle East. There was a small story I found. It's in a couple videos of mine from the past, and it was talking about the American military launched a new weapon or a plane or something out there in the Middle East, and they called it the Juggernaut, I believe. And it looks exactly like one of these cylinder UFOs. And you can find these on cave drawings and art throughout the centuries. So these things have been around. There's even a big volcano. I think it recently popped off just a few weeks ago. I can't remember the name. It starts with a P. But you can look up footage of the cylinder UFOs going into that very same volcano a few years ago, like people filming it going in and coming out. And so that was very interesting as well. Subjects, I got so many subjects I'm curious about. Hollow Earth has always been one. I'm not a flat Earth person at all. But Hollow Earth is something I could consider, for sure. So anyway, moving on. See what else we got up in here. Gateway to Heaven. NASA Hubble telescope finds amazing cross structure at the center of the galaxy. It says the photo taken by NASA's Hubble telescope shows an incredible X-shaped structure in deep space that appears to resemble a crucifix. It was taken by the Wide Field Planetary Camera on the famous telescope. The image was first released by the Space Agency in June 1992. Okay, this is an old story, I guess, according to HubbleSite.org, but has just reemerged on conspiracy site Disclose.tv. According to HubbleSite.org, that's cool. There's the picture. Looks just like a cross to me. That's great. That's awesome. This cross structure has sparked theories of a gateway to heaven. According to HubbleSite.org, which first published the image, the cross is due to absorption by dust and marks the exact position of a black hole. Okay, interesting. We just had that new black hole footage come out. First picture ever, right? So this is from many years ago. Absorption, and they always have to have a scientific explanation, of course, right? Absorption by dust and marks the exact position of a black hole. That must be why this story came back out just now. Like, this is published April 7th, just a few days ago. So this, I guess, didn't this come out then? I guess this came out before, it reemerged before the black hole story, because that's just a couple days old, right? Anyway, there you go. Is that a gateway to heaven? Is that an obvious sign of a cross? Or is it absorption by dust and marks the exact position of a black hole? Or is it both? Or is it none of it? I think it's pretty cool. Virgin Territory study shows sexual inexperience rising in Japan. They said rising. Around 1 in 10 Japanese in their 30s has never had heterosexual sex, and the number of adults with no sexual experience is increasing, according to a new study based on a national survey. Comparable data from other developed countries indicated that Japanese adults tend to become sexually active later in life, and that a substantially larger proportion remain heterosexually inexperienced into their 30s, the authors said. The research is based on data from 7 rounds of the National Fertility Survey of Japan carried out between 1987 and 2015, which is administered by a unit overseen by the Japanese Health Ministry. In 2015, 11.9% of women aged 30 to 34 and 12.7% of men in the same age group reported having had no heterosexual sexual experience. In the 35 to 39 age bracket, the figures were 8.9% for women and 9.5% for men. In both age brackets, the number of self-reported virgins had increased by several percentage points from the earlier surveys conducted in 1987 or 1992. Yeah, I'll be putting this in a future video too. Sorry, I'm thinking out loud. All right, let's continue. Each round of the survey is administered to people aged 18 to 39 years old, and in total, the researchers from the University of Tokyo found around a quarter of men and women in that demographic reported having never had heterosexual intercourse in 2015. The survey data did not include information on same-sex intercourse. Okay, thanks. Fair enough. But the authors said even assuming that 5% of respondents were engaged only in homosexual sex, around 1 in 20 30 to 39-year-old women and men would still lack experience, battling low birth rate. The study said Japan appears to be an outlier. Data from that word's out there a lot, and I'll say data or data. I go back and forth. Data from the United States, for example, found just 1.9% of women aged 30 to 34 and 0.9% of women aged 35 to 39 reported no sexual partners of the opposite sex. So that's from the USA. The figures for American men were just 3.1% for those aged 30 to 34 and 1.4% for those between 35 and 39. The results are likely to be the cause for concern given Japan's ongoing battle with population decline and a low fertility rate. Japan's government has sought to tackle the problem by offering birth incentives and support for working mothers, including more nursery spots for young children. The situation of individuals who remain sexually inexperienced due to difficulties in finding a partner may be considered in future policies aimed at increasing Japan's birth rate. Peter Ueda, the study's lead author and an epidemiology expert at the University of Tokyo, said that sexual inactivity or inexperience, whether voluntary or not, should not be exoticized, ridiculed, or necessarily considered a concern for everyone. More research is needed on reasons for sexual inactivity and how mating market dynamics might be evolving. The study said it found a correlation between sex and money, with men more likely to have had intercourse if they had permanent full-time employment. That says it all. But they cautioned the cause and effect was difficult to determine on issues of sexual inexperience. They also noted that while sexual activity might not be a priority for everyone, most respondents over 25 with no sexual experience reported hoping to get married, indicating that their lack of sexual experience may be involuntary. Researchers noted several potential limitations, including the self-reported nature, and they pointed out that sexual inactivity could also be higher than their research suggests because they only examined whether respondents had any sexual history, not whether they were currently active. Anyway, yeah, I've been working on a video about the loss of love in the world, and this is totally going in there now. I mean, that's just another one. Sacramento wants to tax soda, tires, guns, water, pain pills, lawyers, car batteries. This is, to me, this is the kind of stuff you'll see with some socialism. This is examples all around us of why this is a bad idea. Government runs amok and just takes more money out of us plebes as much as they can. I know we're not plebes, but you know what I mean. Plagiarized T.S. Eliot, April is the cruelest month, but not for the reasons the poet wrote, rather for all the taxes. And there are bills in the legislature to make taxes sting even worse. By April 10th, Californians must pay their local property taxes. Excuse me, I'm going to take a drink here. 5 days later is the deadline for filing state and federal income tax returns. Also, the state and the feds want any initial pre-tax payment that's required on current earnings. So tax collectors get 3 swings at us this month. It's a perfect storm for millions of Californians because the federal tax overhaul enacted in 2017 by the Republican Congress and Trump. For the first time, deductions for state and local taxes on federal returns are limited to $10,000. That's much less than Californians have been deducting in this high tax state. Making the bite even sharper for salaried employees who receive a W-2, non-reimbursed job expenses are no longer deductible on federal returns. That hits teachers particularly hard because they often buy their own classroom supplies and have been deducting the costs. Again, this is political stuff. I don't know which way LA Times, this is why I'm not big into politics. That's why I already don't feel good. I don't know if this is, can you trust this story? Because it's, California is run by Jerry Brown right now, right? So I think this is more of a local issue as opposed to blaming Trump for it. But maybe that stuff from Trump didn't help. I don't know. Again, I'm not trying to be I'm not on the Trump train, choo-choo, ain't nothing like that either. But I'm just not into politics or the political stuff, especially reading from political rags. I don't think I've ever really used LA Times for something like this because I just never know how much of it you can trust. But let's see what they're talking about with the taxes. All right, let's see. I don't know. So the tax's main purpose, backers say, is to discourage unhealthy soda drinking by raising the price, just as California has done by jacking up tobacco taxes. Children are consuming over 30 gallons of sugary drinks every year, the sponsor's pitch reads. About half of adults and 2/3 of youth consume a sugary drink every day. Sugary drinks are the single largest source of added sugars in the American diet, the pitch continues, leading to an increased risk of diet. And Sam, with all this, it's true, to increased risk of diabetes, heart and liver disease, obesity, tooth decay, and some cancers. I'm totally with that. Yeah, I believe that. There are also other anti-soda bills pending. One is the anti-big gulp measure that would ban soda containers larger than 16 ounces. Another is a prohibition against grocery stores stocking sugary drinks near the checkout counter. I don't know. What do you think about some of this? Because that's truth. The sugar is one of the most dangerous things out there. But it seems like they're really going kind of extreme, maybe. I don't know. Soda consumption is going down on the natural while obesity is increasing, counters Dana Williamson, who is a political advisor for former Governor Jerry Brown, is now a strategist for the beverage industry. There doesn't seem to be a connection between the two, she says. We're singling out one product without looking at others. There's far more sugar in some other products like candy. And it's like, right, how about chocolate shakes, cotton candy? At least they have some nutritional value, it says. I don't know. I'm kind of done with this. But I guess that's, more taxes in California. I guess I could have just said that 4 minutes ago and it's been done. Right? Could have just moved on. But anyway, thanks for hanging in there. In the transgender unregulated live experiment on children, says whistleblowing workers who have quit clinic treating patients as young as 3. Yeah. 5 whistleblowing workers at the only NHS transgender clinic in Britain have quit over fears children as young as 3 are going through unnecessary gender reassignment treatment. Man, gosh, guys, look. I'm not trying to be a hellfire and brimstone dude, but if you're not right with the Lord above, oof. And I mean, just have a relationship. I ain't talking about all this. I'm not trying to, fear you out here, and you sinners are gonna, I'm not evangelical. All right. But when I see stuff like this, especially, I've been talking about eschatology and, the apocalypse, the end, all that for many years, but especially when I see stuff like this, man, when they start doing stuff with the little ones, the children, the innocent ones. Oh boy. Oh boy. No good. I did a video I guess a couple weeks ago now on how empires fall. There's a pattern of many, many fallen empires. America's on its way, it seems. But that's part of it too, messing with the young ones, getting them involved in stuff like this, perverting the children you've seen throughout history. The clinicians from the Gender Identity Development Service clinic based in London and Leeds left over concerns children were being incorrectly diagnosed with gender dysphoria. It was feared some gay children struggling with their sexual identity are being incorrectly diagnosed as transgender. Specialists also worried that some of the youngsters were being referred and pressured into having gender change treatment after suffering homophobic bullying. All 5 former staff members were part of the team deciding if youngsters should be given hormone blockers. Goodness gracious. Talk about messing with God's creation. Again, the children, the little ones, give them hormone blockers. Of the team deciding if youngsters should be given hormone blockers to stop their development before puberty, according to the Times. The patients then take a course of cross-sex hormones at the age of 16, depending on whether they want to develop as male or female. At least 18 staff have reportedly quit. Good for them. The controversial clinic over the past 3 years, citing fears not enough checks are being done to correctly diagnose child patients. That's great. Good people. There's some good people out there. One of the 5 whistleblowers even said the only reason many stayed in their post was to prevent more children from having the treatment. Man, that's good to hear. I mean, there's good news here too, right? Referrals to the clinic risen in recent years, with 94 in 2010 rising to, oh goodness, look at this, guys. 94 in 2010. These are referrals to children transgender, right? 94 in 2010. Rising to 2,519 by last year. Wow. Beast system manifesting. Baphomet system manifesting. Antichrist system so close. When I see stuff like this. Rising to 2,519 by last year. Check this one. With the youngest patient aged just 3. When Jesus comes back, he's not coming to issue hugs. I mean, I'm not trying to be hardcore here. I'm just telling you, this is the thing. It's going to be fire. One of the clinicians told the Times, I felt for the last 2 years what kept me in the job was the sense there was a huge number of children in danger. I was there to protect children from being damaged. Experts fear the treatments are being given without exploring the underlying reason for the children's confusion over their sexuality. The Tavistock Center. Yes, of course. Of course. An Oxford professor said the treatments were unregulated live experiments on children, with some diagnosis not supported by any evidence. Carl Hennigan, director of the Center of Evidence-Based Medicine at Oxford University, told the Times, given paucity of evidence, I like that word. I am not familiar with it. Paucity, Paucity. It just kind of rolls off the tongue. Paucity. I like that. I like that word. Paucity. Mom, Dad, this is my girlfriend, Paucity. I like that. Given paucity of evidence, the off-label use of drugs for outcomes not covered by the medicine's license and gender dysphoria treatment largely means an unregulated live experiment on children. GIDS, which is part of the Tavistock and Portman NHS Foundation Trust, denied these claims and insisted careful diagnosis were made in these complex cases. A spokesman told the Times, it is only in recent years that the number of young people attending specialist services worldwide has dramatically increased. Anyway, I don't read much more of that. We get the gist. United Kingdom, we have friends out there. I've seen y'all on chat before and in the messages and even in emails. And thank you. Thanks a lot for listening over there. I know it's late for you. I'll try to do some more 5 o'clock shows, earlier shows. I did one recently, just a chat show. Also, I did this last week at 5 o'clock, which is 2 hours earlier. So that, I think that was midnight for you guys. 5 p.m. my time, I think, is midnight for you. But anyway, thanks. Thanks so much for just being a part of it all. And if you know anything about this story, please let us know in the comments or even in chat. UK to unleash internet safety czar on Google, Facebook, and Twitter. Social media companies will face huge fines if they fail to live up to their duty of care, quote unquote, to internet users. The UK government is taking a hard line when it comes to online safety, moving to establish what it says is the world's first independent regulator to keep social media companies in check. Companies that fail to live up to requirements will face huge fines, and senior directors who are proven to have been negligent will be held personally liable. They may also find access to their sites blocked. Oh, what just happened? Sorry, guys. Hold on. Stop that video player there in the corner. Here's Chubbs. Hey. Hi. And he's just coming to say hi. Anyway, I'm just going to keep going. The new measures designed to make the internet a safer place were announced jointly by the Home Office and Department of Culture, Media, and Sport. The introduction of the regulator is the central recommendation of a highly anticipated government white paper titled Online Harms, published Monday in the UK. Right, hold on. Go. Hey. Go on. Go. He's attacking my cord like he did last time. I'm not even kidding. I need to sometime record this. Go. Come here. Stop it. Get down. Come on. Wow. All right. I'm going to try to record that next time. I hope there's not a next time, but I really want you to see what he does. He gets a hold of my cord on the computer and he just tries to yank it out. I mean, anyway, the regulator will be tasked with ensuring social media companies tackle a range of online problems, including... I'm going to put you away. Sorry. Including incitement of violence and the spread of violent, including terrorist content, encouragement of self-harm or suicide, the spread of disinformation and fake news. That's interesting. The spread of disinformation and fake news. So they're going to determine what the spread of disinformation is and what's fake news. Cyberbullying, children's access to inappropriate material, and child exploitation and abused content. Okay. So this is Big Brother stepping in. I'm going to start making decisions for you. Okay, friends in the UK. Big Brother is going to step in for you and start deciding what's appropriate. Okay, what's okay for you to see. As well as applying to the major social networks such as Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter, the requirements will also have to be met by file hosting sites, online forums, messaging services, and search engines. For too long, these companies have not done enough to protect users, especially children and young people, from harmful content, UK Prime Minister Theresa May said in a statement. We have listened to campaigners and parents and are putting a legal duty of care on internet companies to keep people safe. Ugh. Google and Facebook didn't immediately respond to a request for comment. The UK government is trying to decide whether to appoint an existing regulator to the job or to create a brand new regulator position purely for this purpose. Initially, the position will be funded by the tech industry, and the government is debating a levy for social media companies. The era of self-regulation for online companies is over. Wow, that's scary. Digital Secretary Jeremy Wright said in a statement, voluntary actions from industry to tackle online harms have not been applied consistently or gone far enough. The measures announced by the UK on Monday are part of a larger global move, right? The One World Order coming into focus more toward greater regulation for big tech. The efforts originated in Europe, but have been gaining traction in the US, as well as with the leaders of tech companies, including Mark Zuckerberg and Tim Cook. At a time of great political upheaval in the UK, the government is deciding to stand up to Silicon Valley tech companies, while hoping they'll continue to create local jobs once the country is departed the EU. There are still some elements of the new regulatory process that are up for debate. All right, there you go. I don't want to read the whole thing, but I think you get the gist. Definitely like to hear from our friends out there. This must be big news out there to you. I'm guessing. Again, I don't know how. I know your media is as controlled as ours is out here. But anyway, please let us know your thoughts on that story. That's big. It's a big story right there. This is a bit of an older story, I believe. Let me see. Yeah. Yeah, this is from May of last year, but I just saw this recently. Hold on. Take a drink here. And here it is. The drunk you may actually be the real you, according to study. I don't know about you, but I'm not a drinker. I've been in and out of it through years, just depending on where I've lived. Some places you have friends you want to go drink with, and then for me, most places I'm good without it anyway. Especially now, like since the heart attack and stuff, I really, I've still had a few nights here and there with friends, but mainly stay away from it. But that's now. Meanwhile, my 20s and the 30s too. I did enough drinking. I think I had a good run. The drunk you may actually be the real you, according to study. No more blaming it on the booze. Does alcohol really turn us into different people, or does it merely lower our inhibitions enough to actually be our realest, truest, most honest selves? Is the drunk you really the most real you can be? We all want to think we're a better person than we actually are. So it's really no surprise how often we jump on the blame it on alcohol train when we do something stupid when we've been drinking. Blaming your poor behavior on something outside of yourself. It's a tale as old as time, but I was drunk. I used an excuse for everything from silly and embarrassing behaviors like dancing on tables and taking your top off to promiscuous behavior. Everyone wants to think that their drunk self or their drunk personality is profoundly different than their sober self, but is it really? Well, according to this study by Association for Psychological Science, published in Sage Journals, the only thing we can really blame on the booze, quote unquote, is the projectile vomiting everyone saw at last night's party. Contrary to popular belief, you may actually be more you when you're drunk than the other way around. Check out some of these interesting observations from a 2017 study and decide for yourself. Is your drunk self your true self, that you're just too uptight to be sober? Number one, you think you're different when you're drunk, but you're not that different. The study talks about how people think they're different when they are drunk, but the reality is their personality actually stayed basically the same. They observed this by having peers socialize sober and then have become intoxicated while some stayed sober. The sober ones became raiders, while the intoxicated group was observing during the same type of socializing from before. Psychological scientist Rachel Winograd, who conducted the study, explained that the raiders' reliability reported what was visible to them, and the participants experienced internal changes that were real to them but imperceptible to observers. This seems to display the personality isn't affected much, if at all, by alcohol, but rather, drunken individuals think personality is affected based on the chemicals in the brain being altered by alcohol or merely the placebo effect. Society says you're different when you're drunk, so you believe you're different when you're drunk. I like that. Number two, in the study, the raiders, the friends that were sober and trained, did observe that while their peers did not seem different in regard to their personalities, they did seem different in their level of extrovertism. So perhaps if you're an ultra introvert, your personality is slightly affected by being drunk, but still not as much as you think. Says while these findings by no means conclusive whether or not drunk you is the real you, they do seem to shed some light on the fact that these two assumed sides to your personality may not be as far away from each other as previously thought. Interesting, eh? The drunk you may actually be the real you. Bum, bum, bum. Naked woman found in Virginia daycare claims she is owner's wife, tries to fire employee. hate to laugh, but I've covered this other subject where I genuinely believe that possession is on the rise, has been for years. And I've shown this through videos. There's proof, just the things that are happening out there, rise of exorcists and all this other great stuff. But it's out there. I did a video back in 2016 based on all these news stories about people getting involved in crime and being naked. There were so many stories. And that video is one of those that definitely got slowed down by YouTube. They shadow ban videos. They hold back your views on things. I got almost 500,000 subscribers. My newest video I just put out a couple days ago, I think it's stuck at like 35,000 views. You know what I mean? Now, I'm not being a baby and complaining. I just know that's not the truth. That's not really but that happens. And other people out there with YouTube channels, some of you may have seen that same thing. Sometimes the views will show up, but like 2 or 3 weeks later, I'll have videos that'll freeze at maybe 70, 80,000 views. And then like a month later, it'll be over 200,000, every now and then. Sometimes they never move on. It's just kind of weird. I mean, they so jacked the algorithm, and YouTube's so unreliable in those ways. It's just, it's a gamble, man. But anyway, and I tie that into, because even biblically, there's Bible stories about people being possessed, being naked, acting like animals, having extra strength. So check this out. A 23-year-old woman is behind bars after breaking into a Stafford daycare and being found completely naked by an employee. Early Thursday morning, Sergeant Aubrey with the Stafford Sheriff's Office responded to the Kids on the Move Learning Center in Stafford. Upon arrival, officers said they found a woman dressed in black standing inside the building with a fork in each hand, so she must have put some clothes on. Found a woman dressed in black. Okay, sure. Standing inside the building with a fork in each hand. After she was taken into custody, the suspect told the sergeant he was making a mistake and she was the daycare owner's wife. Shortly after, Sergeant Aubrey spoke with an employee who said she did not Shortly after, Sergeant Aubrey spoke with an employee who said she did not recognize the suspect. The employee said she had arrived at the building and began turning lights on when she was suddenly confronted by a naked woman in the doorway of one of the classrooms. That's out of a movie, isn't it? The suspect then told the employee she was trespassing and tried to fire her. The sheriff's office later determined the suspect was not affiliated in any way with the daycare. Heaven Connor is her name. 23 of Spotsylvania was recognized from an incident earlier that morning. Connor had been walking down Route 1 and was reported as a suspicious person. She told the sergeant she was coming from Rappahannock Regional Jail. She was incarcerated on a secured bond, and that's the story. Anyway, there you go. Random naked people acting violent and weird. Teen Vogue says it's totally wrong to believe people are born male or female. Teen Vogue even. So how many of your young girls out there, how many of them are looking at Teen Vogue? Seriously. Teen Vogue spoke with a collection of LGBTQ activists for a recent video in which one transgender person claimed to be biologically female, quote, regardless of whether or not doctors agree. The 6-minute video started with Belgian model Hannah Gabi, who identifies as intersex. She boldly proclaimed, sans any real proof, that the idea there are two binary sexes, male and female, is BS. Another contributor, politics writer and Teen Vogue editor, Lucy Diavolo, declared, when I say I am a woman, I don't just mean that I identify as a woman. I mean that my biology is the biology of a woman, regardless of whether or not doctors agree. Mind you, this kind of thinking is coming from some of the same people who vehemently attack pro-life conservatives who believe the human life begins at the moment of conception. To make their case, they often claim those on the right are denying science. Taking a very big proverbial step over some pretty rudimentary scientific facts, ACLU Transgender Justice Campaign Manager Lala Zanel claimed, human beings are so complex that each person has the right to define who they are. And X and Y can't define who you are in your heart and your mind, so you're growing in life, or as you're growing in life. But the reality is simple. Regardless of our feelings, there are only two biological sexes. Scripture makes that clear in Genesis 1:27 when Moses wrote, so God created human beings in his own image. In the image of God, he created them. Male and female, he created them. One verse later, God tells the first human beings to, quote, be fruitful and multiply. There's Chubbs. Again, hi. Don't do it. Come over here and say something. Hi. Want to say something to the people? Okay. Guess not. Too bad. I could squeeze one out of you. I could squeeze a mew out of you, but that wouldn't be nice. As Dr. John Scalco, a philosophy professor at St. John's Seminary in Boston, explained in a 2017 essay, our binary biological sexes are directly connected to our ability to reproduce. And the only way to do that is with one male and one female. How we fundamentally distinguish male and female then is based upon the two biological roles in reproduction. A human individual that has the basic capacity to reproduce with a female is biologically and truly a male. A human individual that has the basic capacity to reproduce with a male is biologically and truly a female. Male and female are defined in reference to each other, which is why they are correlative terms. Scalco also made the case for those who are incapable, for whatever reason, of reproducing naturally, comparing people in the category to a mechanic with the intellect, but not the tools to repair a damaged vehicle. Anyway, we get the gist. It's crazy we have to have that conversation, isn't it? This one, another mainstream news story. So I'm not even going to really read it, but just something I was going to share. That was interesting. Trump calls Mueller investigation attempted coup. Barr says spying needs to be investigated. So the latest stories they have on this have to do with Obama. They're actually talking about Obama's connection to some of this spying that started back during Trump's campaign a few years ago. And there's a lot of us who've looked into Obama throughout the years, and at the very least, he encompasses an Antichrist spirit. That's been proven time and time again, in my opinion. I've done some vids on that. Lots of other people have as well. Interesting times. And Obama's definitely a fascinating character to look into for that. At the very least. But then some of us believe he could very well be the... Oh, excuse me, guys. I need to lock him up. Here. Guys, give me 1 minute. We'll take a short break. I'll be right back. Okay, thanks. I needed that short break there. He had to go to prison. I had to put him in kiddie prison. Sorry, I'm just being a jerk. I try to let him roam free, but he requires too much of my attention. I'll finish my thought. Anyway, just something to consider, though. I mean, if Obama is in fact the son of perdition, the man of sin, the body that holds the devil on this earth, and has the reign of, 3.5 years? I mean, if he really is, there's also a lot of interesting things about Trump being the tip of the spear. Like an event happening under Trump, which would cause a new opening, perhaps for Obama to jump in, or maybe someone else. Other people think it's Kushner. Some people think it's Netanyahu. It's all over the place, right? But there are multiple Antichrist spirits as well. We've seen them manifest throughout history in different places too. But if he is, man, I mean, if they're going after Obama, I mean, how far do you think this could go before, perhaps the event happens? The false flag, if you will, the next 9/11, the final one. And that would be the real beginning of, the all the FEMA camps being activated, or FEMA regions. There's 13 in America. Everything's divided up already and set up. The real New World Order, right? Then that would be the time that the man would be revealed, the man of sin, the son of perdition. I'm just saying this is a possibility. I'm putting it out there, folks. Some of you are, I know you're not with this, but just throwing out some possibilities. Now, if that's the case, if they really start going after Obama, how far do you think that would go if Obama truly is the Antichrist on this earth? If, something would have to happen to stop that, right? I'm not hoping for that, I'm not wishing for it. I'm just saying I see the connections there and the possibilities. Something to think about, Evidence of new human species discovered in a cave in the Philippines. Check out that picture. That's awesome. You guys ever been in a cave? Some people may not have. Been on a cave tour? If you don't like closed-in spaces, I wouldn't recommend it. That's one thing, but they can be really cool. See some amazing things. There were once many human species, this reads, but today there's only one, modern humans. However, the human family tree is growing. Researchers working in a cave in the Philippines claim to have found a new, previously unknown species to add to human history. Remarkably, this hominin was probably less than 4 feet high and had some of the characteristics of modern people, but also anatomical features from much earlier hominins. It's believed that the discovery will transform the understanding of our evolution. In recent years, there have been a series of finds of early humans in the Philippines. The latest was made by archaeologists as they were digging in the rocky floor of Calao Cave on Luzon Island, according to History.com. A team of experts found a number of fossils that are unlike anything else in the world. They were unearthed by a team of experts led by Professor Philip Piper from the Australian National University. According to Daily Mail, the fossil remains include an adult finger, toe bones, as well as teeth. The femur bone of the juvenile was also unearthed. The remains are estimated to be about 50,000 years old. And again, another one, do you believe the modern thing they tell us, in public schools and everything, that the earth is like 1 million years old, a couple million years old? I don't know what they're telling them now. I always hear different times, 50,000, 100,000, 500,000, 25 million, whatever. Some people believe it's under 10,000 years old. Just throwing that out there. That'd be a trip, right? Another example of how much we've been lied to. Just saying, possibility, right? So is this even, is it a real story? Or just more of a evolution type stuff? They want to keep evolution alive. They've been teaching it to kids in public school for decades. Perhaps. I don't know. Parenting magazine warns blonde, cheerful families, dangerous, likely right-wing. Mwahaha. Parenting magazine Baby and Family has told readers to beware of families who are inconspicuous and cheerful. Oh my gosh, guys, this is like Nazi Germany stuff. Families who are inconspicuous and cheerful, as these warning signs indicate they are right-wing and thus dangerous. Guys, this is living in the upside down. This is as above, so below. This is our new reality. And this is, the Bible told us there'd be a time where light would be considered dark and dark would be considered the new light. And I certainly think we see enough of that now. Depicted with illustrations featuring solely blonde women and children, the report says ordinary parents must take action against right-wing families and make clear that their ideology has no place in the world. Asserting that the term right-wing stirs up anxiety and brings to mind burning refugee homes, skinheads in the NSU, National Socialist Underground, group who carried out a string of violent attacks on foreign people. All right. The high circulation German magazine declares it is precisely the great risk, as such people are just as dangerous, if not more so, as gangs of Nazi skinheads. The identifying features of right-wing families it contends are that they are inconspicuous, blonde, cute, and engaged. Wow. That's some scary stuff. There's some pictures. Wow. Parenting magazine. Blonde, cheerful families. Dangerous. Likely right wing. The times they are changing. And this goes back to everything happening out there in Germany with the integration and the New World Order growing and extending and the destruction of barriers, inseminating new cultures, massive numbers of a new culture into your culture. And the key is this culture will not assimilate. Eventually they take over, right? So we start seeing more of this kind of a thing. That was also in my video about the history of fallen empires. Y'all may have heard that Julian Assange was allegedly arrested today. Well, not allegedly. There was video of it. It was funny. It didn't even look real to me. That's just me. But Lady Gaga here. Before I get to that, this is what I think of Julian Assange. Like, I've never bought him as a real. He's a character. He's definitely. I think he's kind of an act. There's a lot of things about him that connect him to so-called elite. The occult. Even his parents, one was an actress. The other one was, gosh, what was it? Worked for the government or something? I can't remember, guys. It's off the top of my head. There was some weird stuff with, oh, wait, he was in a cult. They were like in a cult. So he's also involved with a cult and then also with Hollywood somehow or acting and whatnot. There's something there, but that's the main thing I remember. Anyway, I've never trusted him. The beast system gives us, they force us these heroes for us to worship. And, the real hero is the average man and woman out there who are truthfully looking for the truth and talking about it openly. And there's millions of them. To me, those are the real heroes and the real truth tellers. And of course, we find a lot of them on YouTube, right? So this is, again, why YouTube's been under such weird attack over the last few years and has changed so much. But anyway, he's connected with this, with the occult system. I did a video on this a long time ago. Lady Gaga, of course, a major tool of the beast system, if you will. Definitely a sellout to that satanic Hollywood system. Lady Gaga interrogates WikiLeaks' Julian Assange in the most surreal movie moment of the year. Okay. It is without question one of the most bizarre and side-splittingly funny, as they put it, movie scenes you'll see all year. Midway through Laura Poitras's documentary Risk, which provides an illuminating and confounding look at WikiLeaks' controversial founder Julian Assange, pop diva Lady Gaga shows up as a witch, by the way, and we have the duality in the black and the white. That wasn't an accident, I don't believe. Controversial founder pop diva Lady Gaga shows up. Gaga chose to visit Assange at the urging of rapper MIA, who provided the musical score to Assange's talk program World Tomorrow, which aired on the Kremlin propaganda network Russia Today, or RT. WikiLeaks heavily promoted the 5-hour meeting of the minds on its social media accounts, and the encounter was later adapted into an Australian musical. This encounter between these two is developed into a musical, first off. I mean, it's all a Hollywood production. It's all a musical. It's all a play, right? Here they even said Gaga arrives at the Ecuadorian embassy in London dressed like a witch. Okay, I'm not just saying that. It was on purpose, complete with black pointy hat, black dress, and fiery red hair. It is October 2012, just 4 months after Assange was granted asylum at the embassy while dodging sexual assault allegations in Sweden, as well as extradition threats from the U.S., where numerous lawmakers have called for him to be tried for treason. The publisher had presumably hoped the meeting would lead to a groundswell of support from Gaga's. It doesn't matter, the rest of the story. I already made my point. So you see, yeah, he's one of the heroes they give us. Because he's going to tell us the truth, right? He's the truth teller. So I never really trusted him myself. That's me. Could be a great guy. for all I know, but he's in it. A woman's infection turned out to be bees living in her eye, feeding on her tears. This is just one of the craziest. Doctors treating a Taiwanese woman, and this is Insider, whatever that is. It's also in a lot of other places. I even think this might have been more of a mainstream story at this point. Doctors treating a Taiwanese woman with an eye infection was surprised when they found 4 bees embedded in her eye, feeding from her tear ducts. According to a report by Taiwanese news channel CTS, in a news broadcast uploaded to YouTube on April 3rd, a CTS reporter said the 29-year-old Taiwanese woman went to Fuyan University Hospital in Taiwan after experiencing severe pain in her eye. There, the doctors found the bees feeding on her tear ducts under her swollen eyelids. The hospital's head of ophthalmology, Dr. Hong Chi-ting, said at a press conference that such bees nest near graves and in fallen trees, so chances of coming across them while hiking in the mountains are high. Says, I was visiting and tidying a relative's grave with my family. I was squatting down and pulling out weeds, he said at a news conference. Assuming that sand or dirt had gotten into her eye, she said that she cleaned her eye with water at the time. However, she started experiencing a stinging pain and her eye would tear up constantly. During the press conference, Dr. Hung said, I saw something that looked like insect legs, so I pulled them out under a microscope slowly and one at a time without damaging their bodies. The insects were later identified as sweat bees. Dr. Huang explained to reporters that even though sweat bees do not attack people, they are attracted to the perspiration of humans. I've never even heard of a sweat bee. Have you? It's new to me. This is nightmare stuff. This is like nightmare fuel too, though. Thankfully, he did not rub her eyes excessively. I don't know. This is kind of written whack too, which could have worsened the state of her. It said he, now it's her. Of her inflamed cornea. All right. Anyway, there's your story. A sweat bee. I've never heard of that before. One in 10 Japanese adults. Oh, we covered that already. Pretty sure. I think that was just another copy of the same story, or another example, different site, same story. Woman's shock after capturing photo of ghost dog which haunts Round Hay Park. You know, I like the ghost dog stuff. Let's see, though, how legit this could be. Let's see here. Stephanie Smith was taking a picture of Round Hayes Park's Victorian Folly near Waterloo Park on a recent visit with her parents and daughter, Danny Louise. But looking back at the picture, Stephanie noticed a strange shadowy figure in the corner. After zooming in and lightening the image, the lead's mom got shivers down her spine, spotting what looks like a, quote, demonic dog lurking in the shadows, looking at a man walking up the steps towards the folly. Now here's where it gets fun. Freaked out Stephanie, 33. We talked about this last week. But the 33 seems to be coded in a lot of these kind of stories, I feel. I've covered 33 in some other videos as well. There is magic in numbers, too. There really is. You can also find I feel God work through numbers at times, too, as well. I've been seeing the 111 pattern since 2012. I mean, it's even increased over the last few months. It's always come and gone here and there, but I'm one of those people who constantly see that pattern, and I don't think it's the devil or anything evil. I've got my own views on what it is, but I believe it's connecting me, to my Heavenly Father. And some of you probably see number patterns as well. I'm not the only one. It's become very common in a lot of ways as well, I think. So I think it's a part of almost even that waking up process for some people. It's just maybe another level of that waking up process to these things and how real God is and how real our situation is here. Freaked out, Stephanie, 33, did some and is now convinced the huge black dog is a gytrash, an apparition said to haunt parks in Yorkshire. So this thing's been around, apparently. The large black, quote, demonic creature has been described by some as being the size of a pony and is said to be a foreboding omen scaring unsuspecting walkers. Stephanie, who works as a cleaner, said, I froze when I realized the shadow was some sort of animal. It took me a moment to figure out what it was, but once I could see the head, ears, tail, and legs, there was no mistaking it was a demon dog. It's monstrous, almost like a werewolf. And the worst part is that it's in a position like it's going to pounce out, which terrifies me. It's like it was hiding away from the light, like I'd caught it off guard. It spooked me out because I've never seen anything quite like it. Roundhay Park's Folly was built in 1811 by local builder George Nettleton and had been subject in the past of eerie photos taken appearing to show spirits. All right, so there's some activity there. In 2015, a family snapped a picture showing the outline of a woman on the monument steps. The one person I saw, other than my lot, was the grass cutter, Stephanie added. I swear even the dog walkers were miles away from where we were. My dad said it was an Alsatian, but it could be a ghostly dog. They do say you're able to get a glimpse of it as it passes and goes away. I still believe it's what I think, that it's a Gaitrish, a black wolf demonic dog stalking the castle on the grounds of Roundhay Park. Well, there's the picture. I can't get a bigger one, but you could probably maybe make your screen a little bigger and get a glance at it. And then here's the other. Crazy. It looks like a wolf. I mean, that's a pretty crazy picture, man. Big, crouched down like it's going to pounce, kind of hiding in the shadow. You know, so is she just a nutter? Or did she maybe experience something and actually get a picture of it? There's been activity out in this area before, they say. Could be one or the other. But that's a pretty creepy picture, I feel. It's pretty interesting. Looks like a wolf. Doesn't look like a dog to me. That looks like a big black wolf, right? See the pointy ears there and see the eye right there. That's crazy. That was from a local paper, too, where it happened, the Yorkshire Evening Post. I know everyone's heard about this black hole picture captured for first time in space breakthrough. Bum, bum, bum. What do you think about that? Isn't it crazy? It looks like a big... When I first saw it, it reminded me of the Eye of Sauron from the Lord of the Rings trilogy. Is the Eye of Sauron, right? Sauron, something like that. But it's that big, massive, fiery, all-seeing eye. Just kind of the ultimate enemy, the ultimate embodiment of evil. So yeah, it's crazy. Are we actually seeing another example programmed for the Eye of Sauron from Lord of the Rings, and a few years later it shows up, perhaps? Maybe that's just me, but there you go. It's interesting. Very interesting. You know, I love these kind of weird little stories. You guys know I do. Here's another one. It's been a while since we had some of these kind of creeper stories like this, like little creatures and monsters and stuff. Incident detail report shows man called 911 to report sighting of 7 to 8 foot tall winged creature in Woodstock, Illinois. The Singular Fortean Society was contacted recently by a man who said he had seen an unusual being with wings and bright green eyes charge at him from the McHenry County Fairgrounds in the early morning hours of February 28th. The witness compared his encounter to a sighting that had been reported in Woodstock earlier in the month. According to a message received through the Singular Fortean Society's contact page, I was outside Jewel Osco in Woodstock, Illinois, and believed to have seen the same visual of an unusual being in the McHenry County Fairground. I know I've got some people from Illinois that listen. I don't know if you're on live or maybe you'll be on later, but also, you know, if you can, tell me, are there a lot of Mothman sightings out there? There's some place up north that I know gets a lot of Mothman sightings, a couple states, and I wasn't sure if Illinois was one of them, but anyway, he says, Illinois, I believe to have seen the same visual of an unusual being in the McHenry County Fairground. It screeched at me, then charged the fence. About 30 feet from the fence, it had very bright green eyes and had wings and was all black, leathery colored. It ran back towards the woods in the McHenry County Fairgrounds. I called the Woodstock Police Department, and they had county sheriffs respond to the location. Investigator Tobias Wayland attempted to contact the witness via telephone at a predetermined time agreed to by all parties, but was forced to leave a voicemail. The witness has not yet responded. A Freedom of Information Act request for any information pertinent to the incident was then filed with the McHenry County Sheriff's Office. And while an official report was not written, the 911 call information was released. According to the incident detail report documenting the call at 2:46 a.m. on February 28th, an officer responded to the 911 call of a man who said he had seen a, quote, mysterious creature described as being 7 to 8 foot tall and wearing all black that, quote, charged at him from the fairgrounds, screeching at him while he was in the jewel lot, and then it retreated. The witness named the creature the Dewfield Pond Swamp Monster since he had the first sighting with police involvement. The report continued. Investigation to continue. Anyway, there it is. Yeah, they'll have the lizard man as well out there. I think it's a lizard man in Georgia. And they've had a lot of interesting news reports on that thing. The McHenry County Fairgrounds are directly opposite of the Dewfield Pond Conservation Area, out of which another witness saw a large winged being covered in dark fur emerge on February 22nd. The locations of these sightings are approximately 35 miles west of Lake Michigan. Several large wooded parks and conservation areas exist within a few miles of these locations, and many more are within a several dozen mile radius. This is the latest news in a string of flying creature sightings from within a few 100-mile radius surrounding Lake Michigan, including every state bordering the Great Lake. These sightings ostensibly began in the spring of 2017, but more historical accounts are being reported as more people become aware of the phenomenon. They generally take place in the evening or at night, often in or near a park and around water. Witnesses consistently describe a large gray or black bat or bird-like creature, although in a small number of cases the creature was described as insect-like, something with glowing, reflective red, yellow, or orange eyes, and humanoid features, such as arms and legs, are often reported. Many of the sightings are also of something seen only briefly or are described only as a flying creature with few details, which leaves open the possibility that a large bird or bird-like being could explain some encounters. It says to report a sighting, reach out to us directly, and all right, there you go. There you go. Is it mass hypnosis, mass hysteria, or is there potentially some kind of winged evil creature out there screwing with people in that area? There's another one, big cat the size of an Alsatian, captured on video in Cornwall. This just happened April 7th. Becky Aubrey had always doubted the stories that regularly emerge about big cats in Cornwall, but is a believer after spotting the animal in a field at Praw Sands. Pretty cool footage here. Let's see if we can watch this together. Maybe I can make the screen a little bigger. Oh, it won't let me.
I'm filming it.
It's a big cat, huh?
I'm filming it.
It's a big cat. A woman got the birthday surprise of her life when she spotted a big cat, at least the size of an Alsatian, after a celebratory meal. Becky Aubrey said she always had doubts. Okay, we already read that. She even wondered about the reports last week on Cornwall Live about the village of Harrowbarrow being stalked by a suspected puma or panther. James Stevenson told of how the animal attacked his Labrador Marley and later ran at him in his garden, as it emerged that several cats have gone missing from the village near Kellington. Police took plaster casts of the 4.5-inch paw prints. Instead, the RSPCA confirmed they were from a large cat. But now she's a believer in the huge beast after seeing one with her own eyes and capturing it on video. So yeah. Can you imagine those kinds of cats? Jaguars, panthers, just kind of roaming around where you live? There you go. Big cat. Big cat gonna get you. Hopefully not. And definitely stay away from our cats and dogs. How a cursed film circulating in Hollywood is finally making its way to the public. This one's kind of crazy. I haven't even read the full thing. So a lot of these we read together. These are stories I'll collect throughout the week as I'm putting together other videos, and I don't get a chance to read every one of them. I just find things that sound interesting. If a house or some kind of ancient relic can be haunted and capable of causing badness and or death, why not a movie? The Ring films are a good example of how such a concept can inspire fear in even the most resilient of individuals. I'm going to move down some here. Directed by David Amito and Michael Licini, Antrim, the deadliest film ever made, is purported to be a cursed cinematic project from the late 1970s that was lost for many years and capable of killing almost anyone who claps eyes on it, particularly obstinate film festival organizers. The two directors came up with a story with Amito writing the screenplay, bookended by a collection of documentary-style testimonials about the strange events surrounding the film's history, as well as the topic of the occult in general. Yeah. The movie's plot revolves around a brother and sister traveling into the woods and trying to dig their way to hell in order to save the soul of their recently euthanized dog. Still, we may never have seen Antrim had it not been for writer, director, producer Eric 13, who stumbled upon the movie at the Brooklyn Horror Film Festival last October. Raised on a healthy diet of cult classics like 83's Videodrome, he has a keen eye for game-changing cinema. Here I was at the fest where this movie's playing. Normally, everyone's hyping their projects. It's very easy to talk to people about what's showing, and yet I can't get anybody to tell me what the hell actually happened in this movie everyone's talking about. He said in an exclusive interview, publicly speaking about Antrim for the first time, that's when I had to see it. That's when I was like, okay, this is my mission now. I have to track this movie down, which is not playing anywhere else, which has no records online, which you can't find anything about. I guess that's the movie poster. Antrim, the deadliest film alive or ever made. Okay. In the years during which it was supposed to be lost, Antrim had strange pieces added to its narrative, be it strange symbols or ghostly glimpses of unspeakable things that would make Tyler Durden or Howard Phillips Lovecraft proud. It just has me thinking. I'm going to have to... This is an interesting story because this could be them literally putting sigil magic into these things. I mean, maybe really creating... Look, I'm not telling you to go watch this. It'll be interesting to see what people say about it. Like, I'm going to go online and look for reviews on this and stuff, but maybe there'll be some screenshots too. It'd be interesting to see because, I mean, like, they could literally be putting spells in these films and making it obvious, through sigil magic. So who knows? In the years during which it was supposed to be lost, it had strange pieces added to its narrative, be it strange symbols or ghostly glimpses of unspeakable things, right? So I think about it now almost like an old book of alchemy or Lovecraft's Necronomicon, adds the producer. Originally, it was in Arabic, and then it got lost for years and it was recovered. It's got all these notes where somebody tried to translate it, but maybe it was an ill-fated attempt because they died in the process. There's notes scrawled in the margins, and every time the book is lost and recovered, there's new patchwork pieces added to it. By the time you find it, it has this history. That's really what Antrim is. Meeting with the directors at the aforementioned Brooklyn Festival and finally getting to view the movie, 13 was convinced that it had to be brought to the masses. It could just be obviously a clever plug, to get eyes on this movie, or maybe it's both. Maybe it is a bad thing, and it's also a clever plug to get eyes on it, right? So more people get infected, or whatever. Or again, maybe just a goofy little, trick, and it's they made the movie on purpose to seem weird, and you never know, right? Meeting with the directors at the aforementioned Brooklyn Festival and finally getting to view the movie, 13 was convinced it had to be brought to the masses. They almost have this reluctance to talk about the movie. I later found out that they weren't even applying to the festivals. The festivals were reaching out to them. Matt Baroni, festival programmer, would hear about the movie somehow and want to show it. There was almost this reluctance by the directors to screen it, and I had convinced them to let me watch it. And later, they were talking about distribution and getting the movie out to an audience, and honestly, whether or not they even wanted to do that, which seemed pretty nuts. So we started talking at that point about how this goes out to people, how other people see it, and that's when I came into it. As 13 sought to find a way to bring the movie to the masses, Antrim made its rounds through the entertainment industry, and already look at what we got. So yeah, there's obviously some satanic stuff happening. This Illuminati type stuff, who knows exactly. But as 13 sought to find a way to bring the movie to the masses, Antrim made its rounds through the entertainment industry, becoming an exclusive viewing experience for those in the biz. According to producer Eduardo Sanchez, a co-writer director of the Blair Witch Project, and Lawrence H. Harvey, actor from Human Centipede, were among those who've seen it. I started to find out there were all these other people within the industry who were watching it, who had the same kind of obsession of the thing that should not be seen. I sent it to David Bond, producer of Extremity. We had both put out movies on Epic Pictures' Dread label. He became totally obsessed. Then I would hear that Cannibal Holocaust director, Ruggero Deodato, was watching it, or weirder still, the band Mayhem. This was something of an industry-traded movie. It's strange in that the only way to talk about it is to find someone who's seen it and go talk to them. There aren't a lot of things like that exist anymore. So can Antrim really kill you? Well, it tries very hard to convince you that it can, going so far as to preface the full film with a legal disclaimer. Even at the heart of the movie's narrative in this notion of storytelling, how people become immersed in fiction, the directors think about the film as a haunted house, as something that an audience grants permission to scare them. Lesser magic right there. It's same thing with vampires work that way, right? A vampire can only enter your house if you invite them in. It's something that an audience grants permission to scare them. That's also being a part of the spell. It's witchcraft. I'm going to have to look more into this thing. This could be a new video right here. We know Bloody Mary won't appear, but we get more of a chill each time we say the name. Horror is the audience's very willing ability to forfeit rationality. Yeah, look at this. See, it looks like it's just all the, satanic Illuminati type stuff. And I mean, I could see if this was made recently and they're just pawning it off as something from the 70s, I could see them doing it obvious, because Illuminati stuff and satanic stuff is so out in the open now, it's mainstream. They could do something like that just to be edgelords, be edgy. But if it's actually from the 70s, if it turned out to actually be from the 70s, that'd be another story. But I don't think that's here. It says, as for the film itself, it looks, sounds, and feels exactly like a European art house film from the 1970s. So much so that you may begin to believe that it really was made during that era. It's pretty beautiful, and you'll want to soak in the grindhouse vibe, but all the while you're wondering in the back of your mind if you're sealing your own fate as the story progresses. So it just sounds like some good marketing ploys, and but still, to use that imagery, we know there's power and intention, and we know that, that these symbols are very common and popular now. So perhaps it's a bit of both, perhaps there really is, again, some spell with it. I know I'm rambling, but I'm interested in movies, and I'm interested in the way that they use these things to program people, So there you go. So it sounds like it's probably made recently, I'm guessing, but made to look old school. Antrim. I wonder if that's it's an anagram. Is that what it is? Or there's some kind of a word you can pull out of that? I don't know. Let's move on. Just one of those news stories, man. Professor suing university after being fired for troubling views on gender dysphoria in kids. I think we already covered that one, didn't we? We did. Here's just something I wanted to share with you. Those of you who are junior astronomers, you really like to look up to the skies. I'm not a junior astronomer or anything, but I definitely love looking up at the skies, and specifically fireball sightings. This is from amsmeteors.org, AmericanMeteorSociety.org. And it's a pretty cool site. And right here they have an archive with fireball sightings. And it's pretty crazy. This is really a thing. It's a lot happening up in the skies with these fireballs. So we're seeing a lot of activity in the skies. I've done some videos recently about some of the UFO type footage out there. Speaking of which, there's a really cool UFO video, if you will, coming up. I think it's more of a these are entities in this one, but yeah, this is pretty cool. I don't think I can play. It's got music to it, but this is the Peekskill meteorite compilation. This is a famous sighting from a few years back, 25 years back. Turn the music off, but look at this. Anyway, I just want to show some of that. Move on. I've got a good UFO video coming up here in a second. Mother blessed with quadruplets plans on choosing to only have the girls. This is from April 2nd. This is from activistmommy.com. Says, if this isn't the craziest, most heartbreaking story you'll read today, you truly have a heart of stone. After struggling with infertility, a woman who is now pregnant with quadruplets, 2 boys and 2 girls, is considering the unthinkable. She wants to abort her baby boys. Known only on Reddit as Plain Ganache, the mother shared her story filed under Am I the A-hole?, asking if she is in the wrong for wanting to keep her daughters but kill her sons. The irony is truly bitter that after years of fertility and the monumental cost of in vitro, this mother fails to recognize the unspeakable blessing of not only one, but 4 little lives now taking up residence in her womb. Anyway, I'm not going to continue this because I didn't realize that they picked this up off of Reddit. Not that Reddit's a bad source, but anybody could just make up anything there. And, I get where they're going with this, but it'd be hard to verify something like that. You know what I mean? Anyway. But if it's true, it's totally not cool, to say the least. I mean, am I right? Back to sugar. Man, sugar really is a killer. I mean, there's such a massive explosion here in America over the last few years of Gen Xers becoming diabetics, having heart issues. It's happening to a lot of us. It happened to me. I had a heart attack about 8 months ago now. Also diabetic, type 2 diabetic, was diagnosed with that several years ago. So, but I've so changed my, diet and lifestyle and everything else now that, I feel like I'm on a really good path. I'm doing good. I'm feeling better. And, we're just it's that age, I think. Nowadays, isn't it crazy? Everyone's breaking down in their 40s, like around their middle age, late 30s. The host of the TV show Cheaters, it's one of those guilty pleasures. If I ever see it on, I'll watch it. They just follow around cheaters and bust them out in public. But the host from there, his name was Clark Gable. He was only 30 years old. He just had a heart attack a few weeks ago. And 30, just in his sleep, just, had a heart attack. So we're seeing a lot of this kind of stuff. I've seen it even in my own life and friends of friends and things like that. So, but the sugar, man, sugar's a killer for sure. Now here they're saying inhaling sugar can help fight lung infections by stimulating white blood cells. So, go ahead and start inhaling that sugar for your lung infections, I guess. I guess that's the message for us. What the? All right. Not that. Okay, here's another one. This goes back to that idea of the demonic possession. As I said, I noticed an increase in that over the last several years. I've talked about it in some of my videos. Wife with strength of 10 men jailed for killing husband as son played Fortnite. That's the wife, man. I don't like to judge people on their looks or anything either, but, those whiskers, though, I'm just saying. A guilt-racked woman. I shouldn't even say that. This woman could have been, really could have been overtaken, been in the moment, been angry about something, and it took over. A guilt-racked woman has been jailed for at least 15 years for stabbing her IT executive husband during a regular boozy session dubbed Fight Night. Natasha Welsh, 43, stabbed lovable rascal Martin Welsh with a 15-centimeter kitchen knife on October 26 last year at a family home in Hendon, northwest London. Their 21-year-old son Kyle had been upstairs on his PlayStation and ran down to find his father dying from a stab wound to the chest. At the time, Welsh's relationship with the 47-year-old Celtic fan had turned toxic, jurors were told. It's the man that died here. The couple were regular drinkers who would consume spirits on a Friday night, which they called Fight Night. The mother of two was said by her children to have the, quote, strength of 10 men and behaved like a, quote, lunatic while under the influence of alcohol. So there's the sentence. There's the message. The mother of two is said by her children to have the, quote, strength of 10 men and behaved like a demon while under the influence of the spirits. Alcoholic Welsh had accepted killing her husband but denied murder, claiming she had no memory of that night. Anyway, it's still happening. Demons are real, and these things are attaching to people and feed off of their misery, sadness, and everything else. So they coax them in their own way to do bad things, to do some of these things. I know I sound crazy, cuckoo, KJ's crazy, tutu. But I believe it's all real. I believe it. Now they're getting so obvious about it. For real, look at this. You can now buy a cream egg flavored vagina made from fudge for Easter. But, it's all about Mother Goddess worship. I've covered videos about the rise of Mother Goddess worship. Even the female rival from the Bible being a part of this. And that's what Easter's always been about. This is Isis, Ishtar, right? Mother Goddess worship. Wonder Woman. Yeah. She's just so happens to wear the Star of Ishtar. Mother Goddess. Now they're just putting it straight up. Like, we get it. This is what it's about. It's all about the vag. It really is. That's what Easter's really about. Yeah. I don't need to see that. So there you go. Wow. Mom slammed for throwing 7-year-old daughter a diabetes birthday party. Apparently, let's talk about what she got the child. She says, my girl's 7th birthday party. In a post in Hyle's Kitchen Facebook group, the mum from Ratana in New Zealand shared a photo of the spread she laid out for her child's friends and family. It featured a range of fast food items, including 6 KFC buckets, 10 pizzas, 20 McDonald's cheeseburgers, and 20 cans of fizzy drinks, as well as sweets and chocolate. Alongside the photos, she wrote in Maori, my girl's 7th birthday party, Kentucky chicken, cheeseburgers, Thai food, pizza. She then added that it was not a healthy diet. Okay, right. Wow, diabetes party indeed. It's crazy since I've gone to more of a plant-based diet myself. 1 or 2 meals a week, I'll have some chicken or some fish. It's pretty much it. But you look at the food and just, it's bad because, look, there's no color in it anyway. All this stuff, it all looks the same. It's just got that kind of, most of it looks the same. Just kind of brown, right? It says a lot, it's the color, how colorful your food is says a lot as well about what you're ingesting. But anyway, there you have that. Another one of these stories, man. Doctors are now giving 8-year-old girls testosterone, claiming they're transgender. And we had another story earlier that was similar to this. I don't think it was the same one. It was that was the 3-year-olds. But according to medical doctors and a parent of a gender non-conforming child speaking on a panel for the Heritage Foundation, their quest to stop dangerous transgender treatments on minors is exposed to the government-funded research now allows wrong sex hormones such as testosterone to be given to girls as young as 8, reported the Christian Post on Tuesday. Through FOIA requests, Dr. Michael Laidlow, a California-based endocrinologist, and some of his colleagues found that in 2017, they lowered the minimum age for cross-sex hormones from 13 to 8, the report said. Golly, guys. Imagine giving an 8-year-old girl testosterone. Laidlaw offered there in 3rd or 4th grade. This is unbelievable, but this is going on. During the panel discussion, the endocrinologist detailed the dangers of medically treating children who are confused about their gender and showcased video clips of doctors, both of whom medically treat transgender children. The Christian Post reports Scherer explained that puberty blockers are given to children at age 8 or 9 and when they're in 3rd and 4th grades. Olson Kennedy is doing a 5-year study for which she has received a $5.7 million National Institutes of Health research grant, and in one of her publications, it shows that mastectomies have been done on girls as young as 13. Wow. In the clip, Laidlaw showed Olson Kennedy is seen on tape insisting adolescents have the capacity to make life-altering decisions, including to have their breasts removed. Gender confusion teen girls as young as 13, Laidlaw warned, are having their breasts removed via mastectomy procedures. The boys age of 17 are developing wieners, the developmental age of a 9-year-old's, or losing sexual sensation altogether due to hormone blockers. Laidlaw cited TLC's I Am Jazz star Jazz Jennings as such an example. Jazz, who is male to female transgender, has reportedly never experienced sexual sensations or orgasms because of puberty-blocking drugs. Good grief. Wow, it's happening. Again, the children. They're screwing with the children. I mean, how long can we push God's buttons? Amazon reportedly has team listening to Alexa conversations. I'm not even surprised at all by this. I've never had one of these things. I would never have one of these things. We already know they're spying on us in other ways. Not only is Alexa listening when you speak to an Echo smart speaker, an Amazon employee is potentially listening too. Amazon employee is a global team that transcribes the voice commands and feeds them back into the software to help improve Alexa's grasp of human speech so it can respond more efficiently in the future. Bloomberg reports this. Amazon reportedly employs thousands of full-time workers and contractors in several countries, including the U.S., Costa Rica, and Romania, to listen to as many as 1,000 audio clips in shifts that last up to 9 hours. The audio clips they listen to are described as mundane and even sometimes possibly criminal, including listening to potential sexual assaults. Okay. There you go. They're listening in. What could go wrong, right? Let's see here. Rugby Australia and the New South Wales Rugby Union say they intend to terminate Israel Follow's contract after a social media post by the fullback in which he said, "Hell awaits gay people." Just more of this stuff. Not even going to read it, but you get the idea. So he's a Christian. He said, "Hell awaits gay people." And looks like he might be losing his career over that. Is that? And the last story, Charlie Sheen reveals he's graduated from rehab as he admits he felt possessed by a demon and his children inspired him to get sober. Just a headline I was going to share. No surprise. If anybody's got demons, it's this guy here. Always got a weird, creepy vibe from that fella, but hopefully he's truly getting his life straight and together and, reveals he's graduated from rehab as he admits he felt possessed by a demon, I'm sure. And that concludes our show for this evening. So I'm going to pop over here real quick to the chat room and let me mute that. And hey, guys, that's our show. I just wanted to say thank you so very much for being here. Thanks for being a part of it. Mods, as always, wonderful job. Thank you very much. Got a couple more videos in the works right now, guys. So things should be up in the next few days, hopefully. And I want to say big thank you again to my PayPal and Patreon friends out there. Thanks so much. I'll leave links below if you'd like to support my work. Also got a website. I'll leave a link to that as well. Other videos there. I'm about to do a lot of work over on that site. I've been kind of throwing things up here and there just over the last few months. I've been busy with my videos over here and doing the shows, but you know, it's still there. There's also some real hidden gems on my website, music videos I've made and things like that. Go check those out. And no, not just music videos for fun, like usually revealing something. So it's kind of it's a different way to kind of, you know, do what I do. I get kind of fun and artistic over there on the website. Also, a lot of my band videos from YouTube are over there as well. So check it out. And that's it. You know, much love to you guys, man. Thanks for being a part of the show. Thanks for listening. Hope you had a good time. Keep your eyes open for more videos from me over the next few days. And, you know, until then, take care and I'll talk to you later. Okay.